What's up, everybody? Superducks fan here from Mustang Weekly Update number 59 on this Friday. So, what's new with the Mustang? Well, I have put my snow tires on. I apologize for the sun, by the way, too. The sun's going down here. But anyway, yes, I put my snow tires on. I did not put them on, but I took it to a shop and had them put it on. And for those of you that have just subscribed in the past year or so here and missed last winter when I was driving on snow tires here, I've already spent an entire winter with this car, and it got me through it really well with these tires. I'm not in love with these tires, these snow tires. What they are, they're Goodyear UltraGrip Ice WRTs. The reason why I went with those, there's a couple of reasons. The first is that I was kind of on a budget whenever I was buying them, and so I couldn't go. I normally, in the past, I ran Blizzaks on my Legacy GT, and then for the BRZ, I had Dunlop Winter Sport M3s, and both of those were phenomenal tires, and I would recommend those to anyone. But they're more expensive tires. So the Goodyear was a cheaper one that still had really good ratings according to Tire Rack and stuff, and everyone seemed to like them pretty well. And last winter, just from the memories of what I remember about them, they were pretty good. The dry traction obviously is kind of not as good as obviously normal all-season tires would be. Also, it didn't have very good wet traction either. It was kind of, I don't know why, but the tires didn't seem to grip very well at all for a lot of the time. But when it came to the snow, they got me through everything, and it was amazing that that combined with the snow mode and this in the Mustang premiums here that you have, and the traction control systems, and just the new Mustang in general with its independent rear suspension and the limited slip, all that stuff I think helped to really make this car a good winter driver. I only got stuck once, and it was because I stupidly drove into an unplowed lot that I thought had shallower snow than it actually did. It wasn't for my stupidity, the car would have never gotten stuck last year, and so it's pretty commendable. I mean, there was a few times starting on a hill where I was going sideways and it was a little nerve-wracking, but the bottom line is it got me through it every single time. So we'll just see what happens this winter, if I have any kind of a different experience. The tires still have lots of meat on them, so I should be good with that. They should last me easily through the rest of this winter, and probably even another winter if I'm easy on them. But yeah, so those are the tires. Another reason why I ended up going with the Goodyears as well is that this Mustang has a tricky tire width. Pardon me while I accelerate. Yeah. See, it does not, it just literally just went sideways on me a little bit just on this. I mean, this road has a light salt dusting, but still, I mean, these tires, they don't grip very well, but it's okay. It just adds to the drama. It makes me feel like I'm driving the BRZ again. Anyway, so another thing about these tires as to why I got them is the Mustang has 50 width sidewalls for the tires, 50 millimeters or whatever, and so they're super tall tires. They actually in some categories qualify as light truck tires, which makes it really hard to find sporty winter tires, since most of them in this size are people that are driving around on Ford Explorers or whatever. It's like really bizarre how tall the sidewalls are for these 18-inch wheels. So anyway, that's another reason why my options were actually pretty limited as far as what tires I could even get in this size. And so going forward in the future, I'd probably go for a lower profile tire, as long as it wouldn't. See, the thing is, I wanted to keep the same dimensions so that the speedometer wasn't thrown off and things like that. So anyway, those are all the reasons why, but I will certainly keep you guys posted all winter as to how the tires are doing, how the car is doing. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already, and you'll be able to stay up to date on all that stuff. But the Mustang handles winters pretty well, at least here in Pittsburgh. Other parts of the world where it's more severe, it might be worse, but I can get by just fine, and I've gotten by fine in the years past in the BRZ as well. So totally fine. Rear-wheel drive with snow tires gets you through okay. But yeah, that's it as far as all the updates on the Mustang go. Otherwise, though, I will be doing my little road trip this weekend to Detroit, and then coming back Tuesday evening for the North American International Auto Show, like I talked about last week. So prepare for a ton of videos this next week here coming up, and there will not be a car review this next week coming up as well, but I will be getting a press car the following week as soon as I get back from Detroit, that I will be posting up as a review whenever, the following week after the Detroit Auto Show stuff. So that's what to stay tuned for on the channel here. So yeah, that is it. I will send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news, which I filmed before I got my haircut today. So you're going to see me with long hair again. Right, for this week's news, now there's lots of tech stuff to go over this week with CES that was just going on this week. Plus, we got some stuff that leaked early for the Detroit Auto Show, which is going on next week. So anyway, the first of that Detroit stuff is the new 2017 Chevy Cruze hatchback was just unveiled. That's going to be arriving this fall for the U.S. and looks really good, actually. I love the way it looks. I think all it needs now is a faster version to properly compete with all the hot hatchbacks, and then we'll be set, because this one, as it is, only has the L, LS, LT, and Premier trims, which all have 1.4 liter turbocharged engines, which have 153 horsepower and 177 pound-feet of torque. So, you know, nice stuff, but it'd be really cool if they made like a GTI competitor that had, you know, 200 horsepower or so, maybe even a little bit more. That would be really awesome, but very cool to see that. The next car that was just unveiled ahead of Detroit was the 2017 Mercedes-Benz E-Class, which looks exactly like the S-Class and the C-Class, just a middle size in between the two. Like, it literally has the same exact taillights as the S-Class. I don't know. Mercedes, this styling is beautiful, but it's only beautiful on one or two cars. To make this, like, every single car they make has the same looks now. It's just different sizes. They might as well just have the S-Class medium, the S-Class short, instead of having, you know, the different classes, because there's no difference between them. As you can see, it has the very nice S-Class interior on this as well. It's all fully autonomous, and it's licensed to drive in Nevada. In addition to obviously being able to have very similar autopilot technologies as Tesla and whatnot. So very innovative and high-tech car, and I'm sure we'll learn more about it at Detroit. As of right now, we just have the pictures that leaked. But it looks good, but it's getting boring at this point with them all looking the same. The next thing is Kia has teased a full-size SUV that they're going to be bringing to the Detroit Auto Show. And all we have is this one teaser image here. And looks pretty crazy in chrome green, but looking forward to seeing the actual version here whenever they decide to unveil it. Next is that Jaguar has unveiled a new limited edition version of the F-Type. Now, it's called the Design Edition. It has lots of British, UK little special touches here and there, and you can get it in this really cool Almost World Rally Blue paint, which alone is pretty awesome. But here's the kicker. It's based on the V6S version, which is fine. That's a great version. But it's $92,000 starting for this special edition, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think, you know, for the little bit of extra trim pieces or whatever, there's no other changes mechanically or anything. It's just, you know, some badging and whatnot. But cool to see them offering new things, but I'm sure we'll be seeing some cooler F-Types here in the future. Speaking of cooler versions of standard cars, Pagani has teased a new Huayra BC, supposedly, that's coming at some point this year. Now, we know that we're going to be seeing a Huayra Roadster at some point, and this one. So it could be that this one comes to Geneva and the Roadster will come to like Paris or one of the other auto shows like Frankfurt or something like that. Or it could be that we'll get you know, the Roadster first and this hotter version will come later in the year. But either way, you can see it has a larger spoiler and some pretty crazy wheels. Aside from that, not too much more we can tell about it. Obviously, it'll probably be faster and more lightweight like they always do. Another car that we'll be seeing at Geneva, and it's been confirmed, is the Bugatti Chiron, which they just had this teaser image that they posted up, and it says it's going to be shown at Geneva here. But here's all the amazing stuff. Now, we're starting to hear some of the specifications that was supposedly from a consumer presentation of this vehicle, and they're claiming that it's going to have a top speed of over 290 miles per hour, and that it's going to hit 0 to 62 miles per hour in 2.2 seconds. And they said the speedometer goes all the way up to 311 miles per hour, but like they said, it'll do a little over 290 for the top speed for right now. I'm sure there'll be special versions that'll be even higher than that. But pretty mind-blowing to hear that. They also said that as far as horsepower and stuff goes, it's going to have about 1,500 horsepower and about 1,500 pound-feet of torque as well. And it's going to get that from 2 electric turbochargers and then 2 standard turbochargers as well, made of the same W16 engine in the Veyron. And so they say it's going to be starting at over $2 million whenever it does go on sale. And they said they're going to make 100 of them every year for 5 years, and that's it. And they said 130 of them are already pre-sold without people even seeing it. But we'll be seeing it here at Geneva in a little over a month or so, maybe almost 2 months. And so very sweet to see that. And a crazy supercar that we did get to see this past week here at the Consumer Electronics Show was the FF1, which is the new Faraday Future car, which Faraday Future is like, they want to be the next Tesla essentially. And so this is their debut car, which is a 1,000 horsepower crazy Batmobile looking thing that is probably never going to make production, but it's a fun little idea. They said it would supposedly have 1,000 horsepower, go to 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, and have a over 200 mile per hour top speed hypothetically. And yeah, so they're just, they're building factories and stuff. This is just like kind of a concept, but they said that the architecture and the basis for this car is what's going to underpin all of their future vehicles. So we will see just what happens with this whole company, and if this ends up turning into a reality, that'd be very cool, but I'm certainly not holding my breath. For some official stuff that will be making production here, also at Consumer Electronics Show, Chevrolet unveiled the new 2017 Chevy Bolt EV, which is coming late this year. It has a 200-mile range, and they're saying with incentives and whatnot, it should be right around $30,000, although they haven't announced official pricing, but it's supposed to be the affordable electric car for those that can't afford a $70,000 Tesla. And I gotta say, it looks really good. It has a 10-inch Chevrolet MyLink screen inside as well, so very high-tech feeling cabin and whatnot, and it's a good little car. I think it borrows a lot on the BMW i3, but I think that for this production version, they've differentiated it enough that it now looks like a Chevy. It doesn't look like a BMW anymore. It definitely does look like a Chevy, and I think that it really looks nice. And so very well done job there, Chevrolet, on that. Other electric car news, Mercedes, there's a report here saying that they're developing a new EVA or EVA platform that is going to underpin 4 electric vehicles, and they're going to be a regular mid-size sedan, a full-size sedan, and then a mid-size crossover, and then a full-size SUV crossover. And so that's all we know about that. I mean, it's going to probably be several years before that actually arrives, but they are certainly working on more electric cars at Mercedes. Other electric car news, that is all that is being talked about anymore. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, Volkswagen reintroduced a new microbus of sorts called the BudE, and it has a modular EV platform that is what they're going to be using to build their future EV cars, and kind of gives an idea of how they do it. And it's also a very cool van, of course, and I love the styling on it. I think it's very futuristic, while still having a couple of retro touches in the same kind of basic retro shape as the original Volkswagen buses and whatnot, and looks very, very cool. And so has all kinds of high-tech stuff in it, but for the sake of this weekly update, I'm not going to get too much into it because we got a lot to cover still. Other things I had to go over. Volkswagen, another thing that they showed at the Consumer Electronics Show was this new large touchscreen. It's a 9.2-inch high-resolution touchscreen that they're going to be putting in stuff. It's currently in this eGolf Touch concept, but it's going to be the new head unit, I'm assuming, that they're going to be putting in their future products, maybe as soon as next year. But it has gesture controls, and obviously it's a very large touchscreen, very high-resolution graphics, and looks really beautiful. And so great to see that. Another thing, a lot of these manufacturers have been updating their head units and whatnot here and showing it off at the Consumer Electronics Show. The next thing is Ford has shown, they've officially announced that they're bringing Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to all their 2017 and on vehicles, and they're going to make it an option you can upgrade to on Sync 3 equipped 2016 models. So it's pretty cool that you'll be able to upgrade there for those that already have bought 2016 models. But it's great to see that they've integrated that. And in even more exciting news, Delphi, which they showed some teasers and some stuff previously, but at the Consumer Electronics Show they also showed off their concept for a new Mustang GT interior. And now they're saying, if you watch the little teaser video that I'll include a link to in the description below, they're saying that this has, production ready LCD panels. And it's really cool that the way they kind of reshaped that center screen there so that you have, a large widescreen display, and then having the little screen on the passenger side there is also a cool thing that's, kind of borrowed from the Ferraris. Who knows if that'll actually make production, although they say that is production ready as well. Maybe that would be a cool option. But the really, really awesome thing is the 3D digital gauge cluster that they have for the center there. And as you can see, I mean, it is just really, really sweet looking. And the coolest thing about it is that you can supposedly change and customize the gauges to have several different looks and feels. You can make it look like retro old-fashioned gauges. You can make it look super high-tech and futuristic if you want. And there's also, you know, the gauges that they are showing, which are more traditional, based off standard Mustang fonts and standard Mustang kind of gauges, just in a digitalized form. Very, very cool. And that is spectacular. I'm hoping now, because they say that this stuff is production ready, and I mean, it's based on an existing Mustang, so I could very, very easily see that exact interior make its way into the new either 2017 or 2018 Mustang. Whenever we're going to get a refresh here in the next year or two, I could totally see them incorporating that into the new refreshed Mustang, which would really bring it up to speed with, it actually surpassed the Camaro's awesome new interior and really put Ford at the front of all this high-tech stuff. So very, very awesome to hear that, and hopefully they end up, you know, putting it into production very soon. Anyway, another car company that has announced Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is a Fiat Chrysler Group. For all their Uconnect touchscreens that they have. They're the very nice 8.4-inch Uconnect touchscreens. You can now have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in those. It'll be coming later on this year, so I'm guessing for 2017 models as well. Great to see that. A disappointing thing from Subaru, they officially announced that they're partnering with Magellan for smartphone-based navigation, which will essentially let you send, I believe, the way I understand this is you can send your maps data for if you're getting directions on your phone, you can send it to the Starlink head unit in the Subaru and it'll do your directions. But they have not, for some reason, included Apple CarPlay or Android Auto like everyone else, which puts them behind the pack. I mean, Volkswagen already has it in 2016 models. Chevrolet already has it in 2016. Everyone else, like we see here, Ford, Fiat Chrysler, they're all doing it for 2017. So, and Subaru is working with Magellan, which I didn't even know was a company anymore. I mean, no, I mean, that's the last I saw. They made the big, bulky, you know, GPS units you stick to your windshield. So to be working with them doesn't seem very high tech, and kind of strange of Subaru to partner with them. But hey, who knows? Maybe it'll work better than we think. Anyway, other consumer electronics news. Now, BMW showed off a ton of really cool stuff, and the first cool thing is this new thing where there's software. These are all concept things, and this is all a little bit ways off, but they have a BMW i3 that parks itself by you waving at it. So basically, first, to pull it out of the garage, all you have to do is like pick up the key, and it'll know that you picking up the key means you want to drive somewhere, and so it'll pull itself out of the garage and park itself, hypothetically, and then you hop in it, you know, go for your drive or whatever, and then whenever you're done, you just put it in park, you hop out, and then you wave goodbye to the car, and it literally goes away and finds a parking spot and leaves, all on its own. You just walk off, and that's it. Which, yeah, I really, I'm not sure how far away it'll be before that actually works properly. But that's a fun concept to think about. The car will also report automatically when you've been in an accident. So no more hiding stuff from insurance companies. And other cool things, they showed off a new Spider version of the BMW i8. Doesn't have doors. Looks very cool. And they also showed off a version of the i8 that has cameras for mirrors, and so very high tech. And you know, also this i8 also has gesture controls as well with a large touchscreen. And you know, you don't even have to touch it though; you just wave and do different things, and it obeys your commands supposedly. And the last cool little thing that BMW also proposed is the idea of a street light that charges electric cars. So you know, we have street lights everywhere for the most part, and so they essentially, it's a common sense thing, but they're already wired up for electricity. So I mean, maybe just wiring them for higher voltage or whatnot, but they just attach little charging stations to each little light pole, and anywhere there's a light pole, you can charge your car hypothetically, which actually seems like the most realistic and common sense thing of all these BMW innovations. I could totally see that happening and being put into stuff for Teslas and whatnot in the next, you know, year or two, if not sooner even. That's something you can just put in play right away. So very cool to see that. And so very innovative stuff from BMW. I got to take my hat off to them. That's very cool. Also, McLaren is getting in on the mirrorless car game with a 675 LT that also has cameras for side and rear mirrors. And so it's all just based on the screens. And so pretty cool that they've also rolled that out as well. Now for the last couple stories here, not related to Consumer Electronics Show. The first is Rolls-Royce released a teaser image of their new vehicle that is going to be riding on an aluminum architecture, which is big news for Rolls-Royce because they have never done that before. So doing an all-aluminum vehicle will be pretty cool. And we can't see much, but it looks like this may actually be a variation or a heavily disguised version of the new crossover that Rolls-Royce is planning. But it could also be, they said this is what the platform that all their cars from 2018 onwards will be based on. So very cool to see Rolls-Royce getting with the times there. And in a different move, Bentley has announced this past week that you can now get stone trim in your Bentley. And you may think that that sounds absolutely crazy to have a slab of granite in your car and it'll make it even heavier than Bentleys already are. But this is actually very, very thin stone that they say is less than the width of a hair. So just absolutely tiny, tiny thin. And anyway, it's just, it's sent from a quarry, I guess, in India. And they say because it's so thin, it's actually translucent as well, which is really trick because you can have all kinds of cool lighting and stuff, hypothetically behind it. As you can see, though, they just have two interiors here that have this stone trim, and it looks really great. It's actually a really, really cool idea, very innovative of Bentley, and so yeah, we'll see how many people will actually end up going for that. And the last thing is that it's now, since it's 2016, it is Jeep's 75th anniversary, and so to celebrate, they're introducing 75th anniversary editions of all their Jeeps in the entire lineup. You can get them all in a different shade of green. They have all kinds of interesting green colors. They all have cool 1941 embroidering on the backs of the seats and whatnot, and so the different colors of green are very, very interesting. So there is Recon Green, which is offered on the Compass, Patriot, Cherokee, and Grand Cherokee. The Renegade comes in a Jungle Green, and the Wrangler and Wrangler Unlimited can be had in Sarge Green, which is my favorite. That's awesome, Sarge Green. So anyway, very cool to see that. Now, they're all obviously going to be a little bit more expensive than the standard models, but for those that go in for, stuff like that, I think it's really cool. I would totally, if I had to have a Wrangler, that's Sarge Green. That would be my pick. That's very, very cool with the special wheels and whatnot. So anyway, that's it for all the news this week, guys. I'll send it back to me in the car. Alright, so it's pretty busy here merging onto the highway, but of course the person in front of me is slowing down. So we'll do a second gear pull here. And here we go. Yeah, man, with this tune now, this car has even more power to put to these snow tires. They just lit up. Like, it felt like I was driving a GT or something. They just instantly just lit up and continued to spin until I shifted. So, yeah, this will be interesting. I forgot having more power. These tires are going to have even more trouble than they did last year on the stock power levels. But, yeah, it'll be a good winter, hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Take care.